Have you ever crossed paths with someone who absolutely refuses to celebrate their birthday? Not because the date slipped their mind, not because their schedule is packed to the brim, but because deep down in their soul, they honestly couldn't care less about it. And when you stumble upon this bizarre revelation, when you turn to them and say with complete shock written all over your face, "Hold on a second, yesterday was your birthday. Why on earth didn't you mention it to anyone?" They simply lift their shoulders in the most casual shrug you've ever witnessed. They flash you this mysterious smile that almost makes you uncomfortable. They drop a line like, "Oh, it's really just another ordinary day passing by." And suddenly you're staring at them like they've completely lost their mind, like they're speaking some alien language you can't possibly comprehend. Because birthdays are supposed to carry weight, right? You're supposed to crave that sweet cake, those wrapped presents, all that glorious attention focused entirely on you. You're supposed to feel like the most special person breathing on that single day. You're supposed to desperately need the entire world to pause everything and recognize that you exist, that you matter, that you're here. But some people, these strange and fascinating individuals, they don't need any of that anymore. They've moved beyond it entirely. And here's what's absolutely mind-blowing about this whole thing. It's not that these people are drowning in depression. It's not that they've developed some toxic hatred toward themselves. It's not that they don't value or appreciate their life. It's that they've accidentally stumbled onto something that most people spend every single day of their entire lives running away from, hiding from, desperately avoiding. The raw, unfiltered truth. The truth that screams at you once you finally hear it. The truth that you don't need some special designated day circled on a calendar to matter in this universe. That your existence doesn't require this annual validation ritual that everyone performs. That this whole elaborate ceremony of birthday celebration is really just a game we all collectively agreed to play. A social contract we signed without reading the fine print, and these people have simply stopped playing along. They've walked away from the game entirely. Now let me pull back the curtain and tell you what's really happening beneath the surface here, what this seemingly simple choice reveals about human consciousness, about the ego and its desperate games, about the massive difference between actually existing and constantly needing to prove that you exist. Most people out there, they're not genuinely celebrating their birthday when that day rolls around. They're frantically seeking proof, hunting for evidence, desperate for confirmation, proof that they matter to someone, to anyone, proof that they're truly loved by the people around them, proof that their presence on this spinning rock we call Earth actually makes some kind of difference in the grand scheme of things. The birthday transforms into a test, an examination, a judgment day. And every single year they're sitting there anxiously waiting for the results to come in, their stomach tied in knots. Did enough people remember without being reminded? Were the messages they received enthusiastic enough, genuine enough? Did anyone actually go out of their way to make the day special? And if the day doesn't live up to their secret expectations, if it falls short of that invisible standard they set, they feel completely invisible, totally forgotten, like maybe they don't actually matter after all, like their existence is meaningless. This is the ego doing what it does best. The ego that desperately needs constant, never-ending confirmation of its own importance. The ego that measures its entire worth by counting how many people acknowledge it, remember it, celebrate it. The ego that's absolutely terrified of being insignificant, of being forgettable, of not mattering. But the person who casually treats their birthday like any other normal day passing by, they're not operating from that ego space anymore. They've transcended it somehow. They're operating from something much deeper, something the ego can't even begin to understand or touch. They're operating from pure being, from existence itself. You see, there's this fundamental crucial difference between spending your energy proving you exist and simply quietly existing without announcement. Most people are completely stuck in the proving phase, in the endless performing, in the constant demonstration of their worthiness to anyone who might be watching. But some people, these rare individuals, they've dropped the entire act. They've let it fall away. They've realized on a deep level that existence doesn't require an audience watching from the seats. that you don't need applause echoing in your ears to be real, to be valid. That mattering isn't something you earn through annual celebrations and rituals. You just are. You simply exist. And once you've genuinely touched that awareness, once you've actually felt the incredible freedom of existing without needing to constantly prove it to everyone around you, birthdays start to look completely different. They start to look like what they actually are when you strip away all the meaning we piled on top. Social rituals, collective agreements, elaborate games we play together to reassure each other that we're significant, that we matter, that we're not alone. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with playing the game. It serves a real purpose in society. It creates connection between people. It gives people a concrete reason to reach out, to express love that might otherwise go unspoken, to acknowledge each other's existence. But it's still a game. It's still something we made up. And the person who treats their birthday like just another normal day, they've seen straight through it. They've pulled back the curtain and seen the machinery behind the magic trick. They're not rejecting love or pushing away connection or refusing celebration. They're just not confusing any of those beautiful things with proof of existence, with validation of their worth. Let me tell you something powerful about these people, something you need to understand. They're often the exact same ones who don't post much on social media, who don't announce their achievements to the world, who don't feel the need for witnesses to validate their lives, not because they're hiding in shame, but because they're not performing for an audience anymore. They've realized that the need for constant external validation is absolutely exhausting, that it drains your energy dry, that measuring yourself by other people's reactions is a game you can never win, no matter how hard you try, that real peace comes from deep within yourself, not from notifications lighting up your phone and birthday wishes flooding your inbox. It's exactly what I mean when I talk about waking up to reality, not in some weird mystical sense that requires robes and incense, but in the simple, profound recognition that you've been asleep to your own games, your own rituals, your own desperate need for significance that drives everything you do, and the precise moment you wake up to it, the exact instant you see it with complete clarity, something fundamental shifts inside you. You stop needing birthdays to feel special because you've realized that Eschel is just another concept floating around, another story the mind tells itself, another clever way the ego tries to separate itself from the rest of existence, to stand out, to be different. You're not special, and you're not ordinary either. Those are just labels, just words. You're simply here right now, undeniably alive, breathing this breath. And that's neither special nor ordinary. It just is what it is. Now here's what makes people deeply uncomfortable about this whole thing, what threatens them. When someone doesn't need their birthday celebrated, when they don't seek that validation, it threatens everyone else's need for celebration, because it raises a question, a dangerous question that most people don't want to face. What are we really celebrating when we celebrate birthdays? Are we celebrating the actual person standing in front of us? Or are we celebrating the ritual itself, the tradition, the social script? Are we expressing genuine love that comes from the heart? Or are we just checking a box on our mental to-do list, fulfilling an obligation we feel, performing the social script that society handed us? Most birthday celebrations, if we're brutally honest with ourselves, are more about the people doing the celebrating than they are about the person being celebrated. They're about feeling like good friends, good family members, good people who do the right thing. They're about not being the one person who forgot, who screwed up. They're about maintaining the social contract we all signed. But genuine love, real, authentic appreciation, it doesn't need a calendar telling it when to show up. It doesn't wait for permission from a date. It doesn't show up once a year right on schedule like clockwork. Real love is random, spontaneous, completely unexpected, and all the more beautiful for it. It shows up on some random Tuesday afternoon with a text message. Hat says, "Hey, I was thinking about you today." It appears on a difficult Thursday evening with a phone call that says, "Are you okay?" I had this feeling. It arrives uninvited but deeply welcome whenever it's genuinely felt in someone's heart. That's the kind of love the birthday-ignoring person truly values above everything else. not the scheduled kind that arrives on time, not the obligatory kind that feels like duty, not the kind that shows up simply because the date on the calendar says it should. They want the real thing, the raw thing, the genuine thing. And they've learned through experience that the real thing rarely arrives in predictable packages with neat bows. Here's something else you need to understand. The person who doesn't celebrate their birthday, who treats it like nothing special, has usually been through something significant, some experience or series of experiences that fundamentally shifted their entire perspective on what actually matters in life and what's just noise. Maybe they had a birthday once where absolutely nobody showed up, where they sat alone wondering if anyone cared. Maybe they threw themselves an elaborate party and felt lonelier surrounded by people than they ever did sitting alone in their room. Maybe they received all the attention they thought they desperately wanted and realized it didn't fill the emptiness inside, not even a little bit. Something broke the spell they were under. Something shattered the illusion. Something revealed that external validation doesn't actually validate anything real or lasting. That you can have the absolute perfect birthday with everything going right and still feel completely hollow inside afterward. That proving you matter to others doesn't actually make you matter in any real sense. And once that illusion shatters into 1,000 pieces, you can't put it back together again. You can't see what you've seen with open eyes. You can't unknow what you now know. You can't return to that naive expectation you once had. So you stop expecting anything from anyone. You stop needing their validation like oxygen. You stop measuring your worth by counting how many people remember your birthday without being reminded. And paradoxically, ironically, this is when you become truly free for the first time. Free to appreciate genuine connection without desperately needing it to survive. Free to receive love without requiring it as proof of your worth. Free to exist moment by moment without constantly asking the world, do I matter? Do I matter? Please tell me I matter. Please confirm I'm not invisible. You already know deep down that you matter. Or more accurately, more precisely, you've realized that mattering is just another story, another concept the restless mind uses to feel secure and safe in an insecure and uncertain universe. The truth is somehow simpler and infinitely more profound than that. You exist right now in this precise moment, reading these very words appearing before your eyes, breathing air in and out of your lungs, thinking thoughts, being aware, simply being. And that existence, that raw fact of your being here now. It doesn't need justification. It doesn't need celebration. It doesn't need annual reminders to be real. It simply is, and that's enough. This is what the birthday-ignoring person has understood, has grasped, not intellectually as some abstract idea, but experientially, in their bones, in their gut. They've touched something beyond the ego's constant desperate need for significance. They've touched being itself, pure existence. And being doesn't have birthdays that need celebrating. It doesn't age in any way that matters, doesn't need parties or presents or social media posts. It just is, always, constantly, unchangingly present. No, I'm not standing here saying you should immediately stop celebrating birthdays altogether. I'm not saying there's anything wrong or broken about enjoying that day, about appreciating the attention, about using it as a convenient excuse to gather people you love in one place. That's beautiful. That's wonderfully human. That's perfectly fine and nothing to feel guilty about. But notice something crucial. Pay attention to something. Are you celebrating from a place of genuine joy and appreciation? Or are you celebrating from a place of desperate need and hunger? Are you enjoying connection with people you care about? Or are you seeking validation of your worth? Are you grateful for love that's freely given? Or are you testing whether you're actually loved, setting up experiments? The honest answer reveals absolutely everything about where you're operating from. Because celebration that comes from joy is light as air. It's easy and effortless. It's free from anxiety. It doesn't carry anxiety or expectation or the heavy weight of proof-seeking on its shoulders. But celebration that comes from need, from that desperate place, it's absolutely exhausting to experience. It's tense and tight. It's fragile like glass. Because your entire sense of worth is riding on how well the day goes, how many people show up, what they say and do. And no single day can carry that enormous weight without cracking under the pressure. The person who treats their birthday like any other normal day has simply dropped that crushing weight they were carrying. They've stopped asking the day to prove something fundamental about their existence, about their worth. And in dropping that weight, in setting it down finally, they've found something absolutely extraordinary waiting for them. The profound realization that every single day is your birthday. Every moment is your birth into existence. You're constantly being born fresh into this present instant, dying to the last moment, being reborn into the next breath. When you see this clearly, when you really truly see it beyond words and concepts, birthdays become redundant, not meaningless, not worthless, just unnecessary, like celebrating Wednesday because it's Wednesday, or honoring the letter Q because it exists. It's completely arbitrary, just a marker we created because we need markers to navigate reality, because we need ways to organize time and create rituals, and feel like we're moving through something meaningful instead of just floating. But the person who's woken up, who's opened their eyes, they've realized that time itself is the illusion. The ritual is the illusion we maintain together. The need to mark and measure and prove is the illusion covering reality. What's real is only this present moment, this breath moving through your body, this aliveness pulsing through every cell that doesn't need a date to justify its existence. So when their birthday inevitably comes around each year, they don't resist it or fight against it. They don't make a big dramatic deal about not making a big deal. They just let it be another day passing, another day of being alive and breathing, another day of existing without needing to prove to anyone that they exist, another day of mattering without needing to demonstrate or show evidence that they matter. And in that quiet, unglamorous, uncelebrated acceptance of simply being here now, they find more genuine peace than any party or celebration could ever possibly provide, because they've stopped waiting around for the world to tell them they're significant. They've realized that significance itself is just another trap, another clever way the ego keeps you seeking outside yourself for what was always within you, waiting patiently to be discovered. You are here in this moment. You are alive right now. You are aware of these words. And that needs absolutely no celebration, no validation, no birthday ritual. It just is. And it's always been enough.